When I close my eyes and picture my wedding day, I see my father's face, not because he's perfect, not because our family history is clean or easy, but because through all the years, through every storm and silence, he's been there for. And me, not in some grand cinematic way. Not with money or constant declarations, but with presence, with quiet support. With the kind of love that doesn't always need words. And now that I'm finally getting married to the man I love, the man I plan to build a whole life with, the idea of walking down that aisle without my dad at my side feels incomplete. Feels wrong. Feels like erasing something real and good, just because it's inconvenient for someone else. But that someone else is my mother, and nothing about this is simple. She and my father had a brutal divorce 16 years ago. I was 8. I remember the shouting, I remember the slammed doors. I remember the cold silences and hot accusations. There was verbal abuse on both sides, emotional warfare that left shrapnel all over our family. And while I was too young to fully understand it at the time, I grew up with the residue of that battle etched into my daily life. My mother was the primary parent, the one who stayed, the one who paid the bills and packed the lunches and made sure homework was done. I owe her so much. I love her so much. But that love has come with conditions, with sacrifices, with quiet, swallowing of my own feelings to keep her steady. I've spent most of my life caring for her emotions like they were more important than mine, walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger the trauma she carries like armor. She's never forgiven. My father, not for marriage, not for the ending, not for the years she says he stole from her. Her pain is a living, breathing thing in our family. It shaped holidays, birthdays, school graduations, every big life event. And now it's trying to shape my wedding. When I told her I wanted Dad to walk me down the aisle, her face changed, just froze. And then it broke into that combination of rage and heartbreak I've come to know too well. She said I was betraying her, said I was spitting in the face of everything she'd endured to raise me, said he didn't deserve to walk me down the aisle, that it should be her, that she was the one who stuck around, that he abandoned the family, that she never thought I would side with him. And I stood there, listening, feeling like a child again, like that same little girl who used to try to soothe her crying mother at 10 p.m. after court hearings and custody battles. I wanted to explain that this isn't about sides, that this isn't about denying her pain. It's about honoring my truth, my connection with him. But when it comes to my father, my mother doesn't see nuance. She sees a villain, a man who broke her, and any kindness shown to him feels like cruelty toward her. It's exhausting. And now she's making my wedding, what should be one of the happiest moments of my life, into another battleground. She told me she won't be able to look at me as I walk toward my future on his arm, that she cried not from joy, but from betrayal, that she might not even come. And it guts me, because this is my mother, the woman who tucked me in, the woman who worked 2 jobs, the woman who made me who I am. I want her there. I want her to smile. I want her to be proud. But I don't want to walk down that aisle on someone else's terms. I want my dad beside me. And that doesn't mean I don't love her. That doesn't mean I'm erasing her sacrifices. It just means that I am finally choosing me. For once, and God, that sounds selfish. But I'm so tired of managing everyone's feelings, of always being the emotional buffer, of putting my own peace second to keep the peace for others. And it's more than symbolic. My father and I have a bond. We've had our fights, sure, but he's always shown up for every recital, every broken heart, every emergency. He's never tried to erase my mom, even when she's tried to erase him. He's treated her with restraint I don't even think she sees. He's just tried to stay connected, and I want to give him this. I want to give us this. Especially because I might be his only chance. My sisters don't speak to him. One barely. Sends a birthday text, and the other has written him off entirely. I'm it. The last thread. And while that's not a reason on its own, it's a piece of the picture. Because I know what it will mean to him. I know what it means to me. I've spent my whole life thinking that weddings are about joining families. But maybe they're also about choosing who you honor, who shaped you, who supported you, who gets to stand beside you as you walk into your next chapter. And for me, that includes my dad. Whether or not my mom can stomach it, I'm terrified that this choice will break something between us, that she carry it forever, that our relationship, already strained by years of unspoken resentments, will crack. But I'm also terrified of living the rest of my life knowing I compromised one of the most personal decisions of my adulthood to avoid her wrath, that I looked back on my wedding and saw not joy, but guilt. I've already let her pain dictate so much. I can't let it dictate this. I won't, and that makes me feel like the bad guy, like the ungrateful daughter. But it also makes me feel honest. And for the first time, free. I keep replaying the conversation in my head, the way her voice cracked when she told me I was choosing him over her, that I was handing him a reward for being a monster, and I wanted to shout that this wasn't about her pain, it was about my healing. But I didn't. I just stood there, stunned and silent, as she spiraled into that old place, the place where everything is betrayal and no one can be trusted and all roads lead back to the man she married. Too young and left too late. And the thing is, I get it. I really do. I know what she went through. I remember the ugly parts, the cold tension in the house before everything exploded, the nights I cried myself to sleep in my little twin bed while they argued downstairs, thinking maybe if I was just a better daughter, things wouldn't be so bad. I remember the look she gave me when I tried to talk about Dad, the warning, the fear, the sharpness in her eyes that said, "Don't you dare." And for a long time, I kept my relationship with him in a box. I didn't talk about how we got lunch once a week, or how he helped me apply to colleges, or how he showed up every time I needed a ride or a little cash or someone to say they were proud of me. I kept those moments small and private because I knew if she saw them, it would break her. And I didn't want to be the one to break her. But now it feels like I'm breaking her anyway, just by telling the truth. Just by wanting both of my parents to exist in my life in a way that's real. And maybe it's too much to ask. Maybe asking her to smile through the ceremony while he walks me down the aisle is like asking her to forgive something she can't. Maybe it's too soon or too raw or too triggering. But it's also not her wedding, it's mine. And I've spent years pushing down my own feelings to manage hers. I've let her dictate who I'm allowed to grieve, who I'm allowed to praise, who I'm allowed to love openly. And I don't want to do that on the most personal, symbolic day of my life. My fiancé understands, but he also worries. He's seen the cracks in my family, the way my mom clings tight and my sisters go quiet whenever Dad's name comes up. He knows how much it hurts me to be in the middle, but he's also watched my father show up again and again, not always perfectly, but steadily. He says I'm allowed to want this. That walking me down the aisle doesn't make my dad a saint or erase the past. It just honors a piece of the story I don't want to pretend didn't happen. And he's right. My wedding isn't a stage for revenge or reconciliation. It's not a political event or a scoreboard for past sins. It's the start of something new. And I want to begin it with authenticity, not performance, not fear. And I'm tired, God. I'm tired of holding responsibility for everyone's comfort on my own. I love my mom, but I won't trade my voice for her peace anymore. If she can't handle seeing him in a tuxedo next to me for 5 minutes, then maybe she's not ready to be there at all. And that kills me to admit, because I want her there. I want her in the front row, crying happy tears, dancing with me at the reception, giving a speech that makes everyone laugh and cry and remember the strength it took to raise me. But I'm not going to beg for that version of her to show up if she's only going to weaponize her presence. I won't let her hold the entire event hostage just because she still hates a man I found space to forgive. She thinks I'm being naive, that I've rewritten history, that I'm falling for the same charm that once trapped her. But I'm not her. I'm not a woman trying to fix a broken marriage. I'm a daughter honoring a father who, despite everything, loved me, showed up for me, chose me when he didn't have to. And it's not a crime to say that out loud. I'm done being afraid of her disapproval. I'm done thinking love has to be transactional. I want to be the kind of woman who can stand tall in her choices, and that starts now with this. I know. It's going to be messy. I know there will be fallout. My middle sister already texted me, saying Mom's been crying nonstop and asking if I could just compromise and have her also walk me. But that's not a compromise. That's a performance. That's me pretending we're something we're not for the sake of optics. I don't want a tug of war down the aisle. I don't want to split myself in two just to keep everyone equally. I'm happy, and I shouldn't have to. I'm the bride. I get to choose who holds my hand as I take this step, and I've chosen. I think what people forget, what my mom keeps forgetting, is that this day isn't about her pain or his past or some score we're still keeping from a marriage that ended when I was in elementary school. This is about me, about love, about walking into something I've waited for my entire life. And I don't want to carry someone else's bitterness into that new beginning. I've done that long enough. I've worn her anger like an old coat, heavy, suffocating, passed down without my consent. And I've outgrown it. I'm tired of holding space for someone else's war. Because yes, their divorce was ugly. Yes, there were wounds. But I'm not the battlefield. I'm not the collateral damage they get to keep reliving through every milestone I reach. I'm a woman now. A daughter, yes, but also a whole person. With my own life, my own history, my own healing. And I want to walk that aisle feeling free, not haunted, not guilty, and not afraid of a mother's glare from the front row. I've always tried to be fair, to be the bridge. I've gone to therapy to untangle the threads of love and obligation that tie me to both of them. I've listened and soothed and nodded through stories I've heard 1,000 times about who said what and who ruined everything. But this wedding, it's the line. It's where I stop being the emotional middleman and start being the woman who chooses herself. And the truth is, this isn't just about the aisle. It's about the pattern. The way my mother wants to control the narrative. The way she wants my milestones to fit her comfort zone. She wants the first dance, the big toast, the flowers on her wrist, and my tears in her arms while she tells me how proud she is. But only if the script is hers. Only if she gets to believe she won. And the moment I step off script by choosing to honor a father she hates, it becomes betrayal. That's the word she used. You're betraying me. Not disappointing. Not hurting. Betraying. Like I've switched teams. Like I've forgotten who fed me and clothed me and stayed when he left. And that's what hurts the most because I haven't forgotten. I know what she did. I was there. I remember the nights she skipped dinner so we could eat. The mornings she woke up before the sun to work extra hours. The days she showed up. At school events alone, chin high, lips tight, pretending she wasn't breaking inside. I know the sacrifices. I know the fire she walked through to raise us, but love isn't a ledger. It's not a game of who gave more. It's not about demanding exclusivity like a contract. And I can love her and still want my father beside me. It doesn't cancel her out. It doesn't erase her pain. But to her, it does. To her, love isn't layered, it's binary. If I love him, I must not love her. If I honor him, I must be shaming her. And I'm done living inside that equation. I've bent myself in knots trying to please her. I've censored my joy to keep her comfortable. But not on this day. Not when I say I do. My father deserves this moment. Not because he was perfect, but because he tried. Because when everyone else made him the villain, he kept showing up anyway, quietly, steadily, no fanfare, no pity, just presence. And I'm not going to rob him of this memory because my mother still carries wounds she refuses to heal. This wedding isn't about the past, it's about the promise of the future. And I want to step into that promise with honesty, with integrity, with a man who held my hand through driver's tests, through heartbreaks, through the messy middle years when no one else believed in me the way he did. I want that man at my side. And I know what people will say, that I should be the bigger person, that I should keep the peace, that I should avoid drama and find a middle ground. But what no one seems to realize is that I've been the bigger person my entire life. I've swallowed feelings, bit my tongue, played nice, stayed neutral, and sacrificed so much of my own emotional clarity for the illusion of family harmony. And what has it gotten me? Anxiety, silence, a fear of choosing joy if it comes at someone else's expense. So no, not this time. This time I choose my peace, my clarity, my truth. And if my mother can't see that this isn't about betrayal, then maybe she's not ready to celebrate me at all. And that thought breaks my heart, but it doesn't change my decision. The invitations are almost ready to go out. I keep looking at the RSVP line and wondering if her name will be checked accepts or declines. I still don't know. We haven't spoken in a week. The silence between us feels like its own kind of scream loud in the quiet pulsing, with everything left unsaid. My middle sister says mom's still upset, still pacing the house, crying at random, reading old texts between her and dad and muttering about disloyalty. It's like she's back in the courtroom again, fighting battles that ended years ago. Meanwhile, I've been trying to stay grounded, finalizing menus, picking centerpieces, making playlists, but even the happiest details feel like they're under a cloud. I didn't expect this to be easy. I didn't expect us all to hold hands and sing Kumbaya at the altar. But I did think, foolishly maybe, that she would see me, really see me. The grown woman I've become. The one who has spent years walking the tightrope between loyalty and longing, trying to love both parents without imploding in the process. I thought she'd recognize that this isn't about her and it's not about him. It's about me wanting to take a step forward without carrying a bag of someone else's unresolved grief. But maybe that's too much to ask. Maybe the daughter she raised to be strong is finally too strong for her to control, and that terrifies her. The hardest part is knowing that if she doesn't come, it won't be just an absence. It'll be a hole, a chair I'll keep looking toward during the vows, the dances, the toast. I'll still scan the room and hope she changed her mind, because no matter how fractured we've become, she's still my mother. She's still the woman who held my hand during nightmares and tucked notes into my lunchbox and told me I was beautiful, even when I didn't believe her. And I wanted her by my side. I still want her by my side, but not at the cost of my truth. Not if it means erasing my relationship with the father who showed up in his own way. I've spent so long holding both of their broken pieces that I never stopped to look at my own. And this wedding, it's forcing me to. It's making me draw lines I've never dared to draw before. And part of me is terrified that I'll regret it, that I'll wake up on my honeymoon and wish I'd just let her have her way just this once to keep the peace. But another part of me, the part that's finally starting to believe I matter, knows that regret comes in many forms. And silencing myself for someone else's comfort is a slow kind of heartbreak. I don't want to live with that. I don't want to look back and see my own wedding as another moment I gave away. So if she doesn't come, I'll grieve. I'll cry. But I'll also walk down that aisle with my father's arm in mine, holding on to everything we've been through. Every visit, every awkward conversation, every time he showed up when I expected him to vanish. I'll carry the full truth of my childhood with me, not just the pain, but the love too. Because that's what shaped me. That's what made me who I am. And when I reach the altar, I'll be there not as a fractured product of a divorce war, but as a whole person. A daughter who made a hard choice, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And maybe, just maybe, one day my mom will see that. Maybe when the photos come in, when she sees the joy in my eyes, she realized that honoring him didn't mean dishonoring her. It just meant honoring myself. I don't need her blessing anymore. I needed it for years. I craved it. I chased it. I shrank myself to earn it. But now I know my life, my love, my wedding don't require permission, just presence. And if she can't give me that, I'll walk without her. I'll walk in truth. I'll walk in love. And I'll keep walking forward, even if it means leaving some people behind.